is Bentley, and this is Bentley's plant room tour. He'd like to give you a brief overview of his high points. Number 1, check around Mommy's chair for crumbs. Number 2, check Sister's bed. She's not in there for him to torment, so check the other side of Mommy's chair for crumbs. Nothing there. Oh, she closed the lid on the trash can, so I can't shred any garbage. This has been Bentley's plant room tour. Thank you for joining us for Bentley's plant room tour. He says, "Okay, I've been really cute now. I've been really good. Can I please get a treat?" That was Darcy's brother, Bentley. This is Darcy having her treat. Do you want to go lay down? Want me to tuck you in? Darcy, come. Welcome back to my version of the plant room tour. Over on your left here when you come in that door is my Monstera deliciosa. I do have a sneaking suspicion that this may be a Monstera borsigiana, but it is too young for me to really tell. They generally grow kind of the same, but the borsigiana is a little smaller. There are multiple plants in this pot. I've actually chopped and propagated this guy because I thought there were too many plants in there. But it has sprung up a couple more new leaves from where I cut it, so it's determined to be huge. This is a little embroidery pattern that I did and most recently hung up in here. Hanging right next to my Hoya Wayetii that is above that Monstera. Moving right along, I have my Dischidia oeantha or my Dischidia green cascade. It's growing right next to a grow light here. Alongside my Hoya pubicalyx that I suspect is a Royal Hawaiian purple. Sorry, it's a little backlit here, but I didn't have any other lighting sources. Down here I have my Scindapsus pictus exotica that I purchased a little over a year ago, a year and a half ago now. It is absolutely beautiful and thriving. I recently repotted it in this larger pot and it is very happy. Next to it I have my Thanksgiving cactus. It blasted that bloom that I showed you guys. Next to it is my Philodendron Revolution, which has put off these 2 new leaves. It is clearly happy since I repotted it and doing really well. There's an overall view of it. In this little shady corner over here I have my ZZ Zenzi. This guy has not put off any growth for me in about a year because I've been keeping it in lower light. This is my Alocasia Maharani, or Gray Dragon, I think it's sometimes called. Gorgeous, had to show you the texture up close. It has humongous leaves, the last 2 are like the size of my head. And then my Hoya australis that you guys have seen a million times over here in the corner. Love and life near a grow light. And hanging on the end of this rod near that australis is this Hoya Benitotani, which I recently cleaned up since you guys saw it last, so it's looking a lot shinier. And next to it, I don't think you guys have ever seen this plant. This is my wax ivy, or my Senecio macroglossus. It looks like an English ivy, but the leaves are very thick and succulent, and it's very easy care. It's starting to blush purpley because I have it so close to a grow light right now, and I love that. Then I have my Hoya curtisii, which I have recently hung because it is just too long and trailing to sit on any shelves right now. So here it is in all its glory. It continues to grow. And then let's just kind of step back. You guys can see them all together. I want to say there's 13 or 14 plants on that side of the room. On my desk I only have 2 plants. I have my pink syngonium. Some call it the neon, some call it robusta, Regina red, there's a bunch of names. It wasn't labeled when I bought it. And in front of that, near this south-facing window, I have a little string of hearts. It was one of the last plants I purchased before I moved at the start of the pandemic. Down here beneath that window, I have a little prop box of sphagnum moss, and I believe there are just a couple of Hoyas in there right now. Kind of see a crimson princess leaf in there, but I didn't have 2 hands to open it because one had to hold the camera, so moving right along on this lower shelf here, I have a Syngonium that was a gift from a friend. They were cuttings from hers, and my Peperomia Frost, which if you guys have not seen my last video, go check it out after this one. It is all about propagating Peperomia. Here is my African Violet, which has recovered from a state of tragedy. Last year in my move, it was down to like one mature leaf, and it has really come back. This is my Hoya camphorifolia. What plant tour isn't complete without a fungus gnat? And this is my Hoya Lucille. These two are over here because they have a couple of strange markings on their leaves, and I just, in case it's contagious, I don't want it going on my other Hoyas. That Hoya Lucille is also putting off a new curvy leaf, which is really strange, and I'm not sure what's causing it. Monstera siltepecana, which is absolutely stunning. I love the markings on this one. This was on my wish list for a while, and I found it on Steve's Leaves last year. One of my most recent purchases, actually, you guys will see this in another video, so I'm not going to hang here too long, but this is a lipstick plant. I'm not sure what color the blooms are going to be. On the top shelf of this unit, I have my Anthurium superbum on the right and my Peleonia divana on the left. Then, my Rhaphidia tetrasperma. Here's another one of my embroidery projects. Next to my Scindapsus pictus argyrius, which was supposed to be rooted. It wasn't rooted. It's in my plant fails video. If you want to go check that out, I will link it for you in the corner. I love this plant. It's very easygoing. It starts to curl like the exotica when it needs water. This is my humidity monitor and temperature monitor for this room. You can check between the all-time highs and lows and the last 24 hours, so I was just showing you that feature. This right below it is my Philodendron Berlemarks and my Pilea mollis, or involucrata. Then I have my Peperomia parallel, or Peperomia pudiolata. This one I think is a Peperomia glabella, though it may be a Peperomia cubica. Something. I don't know. It wasn't marked. This is my first shelf of semi-hydro Hoyas, starting off with what was sold to me as a Hoya fungii and a Hoya crystal back there. It has been growing like crazy. Recently trellised it. Next to that, you guys can see my Hoya verticillata that I unboxed in a recent video. I will link that for you as well after this. Go watch that. Hoya micrantha is right in front of that. It just put off that glossy new dark leaf in my care. And then I have my Hoya calistophylla. Unfortunately, that new leaf that was kind of tucked under and yellowing did fall off just because it couldn't get any light, but all is well. This Hoya Marillii is working on a new leaf that the camera really didn't want to focus on for some reason. Behind that is my Hoya incrusata. It should be a moon shadow, but it is not variegated, so I think that's what the variegated one is called. Hoya Philippines next to that, and Hoya bulusan, which has a little growth nubbin. Very exciting. Behind that, Hoya hot Pain has that huge leaf it put off in my care. Very exciting. And this Hoya Weymaniae Malaysia is working on a baby leaf too. Yay! Fingers crossed it keeps it. And that is that shelf completed. Our first Hoya shelf, semi-hydro Hoya shelf. Down on this shelf I have a mix of some semi-hydro, some succulent plants, and some other things I'll explain later. This is my Hoya Fitchii back here in the corner. And in front of that is my Hoya Diptera, which is doing really well. Philodendron Brazil cuttings and my Hoya Sunrise cuttings. Those two kind of curly yellow leaves did fall off, but they're working on more, so it's fine. That's my Hoya Philippines Chimera, which puts out these really purpley leaves if you give it enough light. Gorgeous. Very splashy too. This is my tiny little pot of lithops that I just love, and some people call them troll butts. I just think they look like little brains and they're cute. They're due to split soon. Next to that is my Peperomia kimnachii. Very unusual Peperomia. The leaves are very succulent when they mature. And next to that I have my donkey tail, or my sedum, which is the round form as opposed to the like pointy form. And the one cactus that I own, which is a bishop's cap with no spines. The peperomia, the little monstera, and the little micans are all plants that I plan on trading or selling. Bird of Paradise over on the left, which is a white one, a raven zizi, and my philodendron heteroraceum on the right. Top shelf of terrestrial Hoyas, starting off with my Hoya Ban Nagong Nagoy here in the front left, putting off a few new leaves in my care and still growing. It's very happy, love it. Behind that is my Hoya rigida, which is working on a new growth point. It has put off that long vine in my care, but this little growth point here at the base of that leaf is new, and it is working on new leaves, so I'm really excited. Next to that, I have my Hoya Crimson Queen. This I bought as a couple of tiny rooted plants that I put together about 1.5 years ago. It suffered in my move, but has since recovered and has put off a lot of new growth. Hoya Illagiorum that I bought from Logis, and it has put off all of those upper leaves in my care, starting with that dark one on the left. This is my Hoya that has no ID. I think I need to repot it in plastic just because the leaves are so thin, but it was sold to me as a Fitchii. It most certainly is not. It's also not an Illagiorum that I thought it might have been. This was sold to me as a Hoya Carnosa Old Fashioned. It was sold to me with 2 peduncles, and I'm a terrible plant parent who forgot about it for a month and it lost one of those peduncles. I know, shame on me. This one you couldn't quite see, so I pulled it out. This is my Hoya Cow Yai. It only had that bottom leaf that I'm showing you now. Now it has 4 total. This is my Hoya Finlaysonii long leaves, and my Hoya Pottsii here with a new growth point. And the Philippines on the left, Hoya Australis Lisa on the top there. Moving on to the next shelf below that, I have more Hoya here. Shocker, I know. Hoya Flores Island is one of the UT ones that I can never remember the numbers correctly, but it put off this leaf in my care and this runner that's kind of wrapped around behind it. Hopefully more leaves to come. This is Hoya breviolata, which has been growing more since I took it off a trellis. I think he prefers to be a dangler. This is Hoya viola that has put off those 3 upper leaves in my care. Love it. It is so beautiful. This one is Hoya quinquenervia. This shiny leaf is the one it has put off under my care, and I somehow skipped that Hoya behind it, but don't worry, we'll get back to it. And over here is my Hoya lobii red. It has just started putting off some new growth, and those leaves are starting to develop now, so I'm very excited. Next to that is Hoya vitillinoides, which has put off a stem but no additional leaves or exciting things. This is Hoya West Timor, another UT number guy. And this is my Hoya numelarioides, which I can't seem to keep happy. The left vine is okay, the right vine is constantly looking like it's on the brink of death. This is my Hoya mindorensis yellow that you guys saw me recently haul in a collective haul, my most recent one. I will link that if you missed it. Go watch it after this. These gorgeous veiny big leaves. I'm obsessed. There's that shelf for you. I skipped 2 of those tiny Hoyas. The one on the left is Hoya skinneriana. The one on the right is Hoya neocaladonica. Going down to the last row, we have over on the right my Hoya nicholsoniae, which I recently unboxed for you. Behind that is Hoya rubida, which has been growing. You can see a couple of new leaves here at the top, gorgeous and blushy. This was sold to me as Hoya daciantha. Time will tell. It has pointier leaves than my other carnosas, so maybe. Hoya goldeneye, which I just love, has stunning markings, and if I had to pick a favorite leaf in my collection, bam, that is it, right there, my favorite leaf, Hoya goldeneye, stunning. This Hoya pachyclada is in a really sad state, but it has a little green growth point at the base, so I know it's still pumping, still thriving. These are some of the newest to my collection. These are Dischidia Million Hearts. This is the rescue Hoya Pottsii that has put off a new leaf. Hoya Chelsea. Hoya Iris Marie that I recently trellised because she was reaching across the entire shelf. And Hoya Jennifer, which has 2 growth points, that new leaf that it put off for me at the top, but one of the growth points is kind of dry, so I'm sad. Here is that shelf all together. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave me a like and a comment down below if you watched the whole thing. That helps my channel. If you would like to continue helping my channel, go watch another video, watch it all the way through, like it, comment on it. All of these things are a huge, huge help to me. And thanks so much in advance if you do. I hope you're having a great day or evening wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!